Olivia, that's all you get? You owe me $700 for the dumplings from Karen's birthday party, said Lily, my daughter-in-law. It was a family gathering I'd never been invited to before, as I found out from Karen herself. At the table, they placed just one dumpling in front of me. Laughing, Lily pointed at it and said, "Here you go," like she was feeding a pet. Karen, my young granddaughter, joined in, laughing at me too. Seeing them both mocking me with matching grins made me lose all the warmth I'd felt for my granddaughter. I thought, enough, I'll just pay and leave. When I stood up to go, Lily waved me off with a smirk, and I felt disappointed that my son, Jack, didn't even look me in the eye. If they only wanted to celebrate as a small family of 3, that was fine, but their attitude made me never want to join them again. Frustrated, I went to settle the bill, but as I did, someone tapped my shoulder. That was the moment I decided I wouldn't let Lily's behavior slide any longer. I'm Olivia, 65 years old. I've lived a simple life, raising my kids, and while my husband was always busy and not much of a talker, I thought we had a good relationship. I believed my life was peaceful enough. Except for one thing, my difficult relationship with Lily, my eldest son's wife. I knew mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law sometimes don't get along, but Lily treated me like I was her enemy just for being her husband's mother. She'd call me out of the blue or show up unannounced, expecting me to drop everything to help with my granddaughter. If I said I already had plans, she'd say things like, "Olivia, you're always home doing nothing, right? Let me do you a favor and leave you with your sweet grandchild." When I tried to explain I couldn't help last minute, she'd insist I never told her that. Lily never seemed grateful if I did help, saying it was just what a grandparent should do. But if I couldn't help, she'd make me feel guilty, like I was heartless. Recently, I started finding reasons not to go along with her demands. Each time, she'd accuse me of not loving my granddaughter or treating her poorly, as if I were a terrible person. The worst part came when my granddaughter Karen started school, and I began taking care of her after classes. One day, Karen confronted me and said, "Grandma, you're mean to Mom, aren't you?" Surprised, I asked, "What? No, why do you think that?" "That's what Mom says. She says you always lie and never help her. She cried because of you. You should apologize," Karen insisted. It was clear that Lily had been telling Karen awful things about me, and my granddaughter now believed I was the bad guy. When I tried to ask Karen more about it, she just kept calling me a liar, making it impossible to talk to her. I couldn't understand why Lily would tell Karen such things and turn my own granddaughter against me. I felt lost and didn't know what to do. I was at my wit's end, so I talked to my husband about it. His response was, "She's just a kid. She probably doesn't understand yet," and he didn't seem too worried. Asking my eldest son, Jack, for help wasn't any better. He told me coldly, "Handle your own problems. She's probably just nervous around you as her mother-in-law, thinking you'll boss her around." Jack seemed uncomfortable with getting involved. "What am I supposed to say? Tell her to be nicer to you. Then it'll look like I'm siding with you, and that'll make things even worse," he explained. I tried to tell him, "It's not about taking sides. If she doesn't like me, I want to understand why. If she wants nothing to do with me, she should stop asking for favors." But Jack's response was always, "She's the mother of your grandchild. Can't you just compromise a little?" No matter what I said, Jack would tell me to endure it and would brush me off. Whenever I talked about these issues with friends, they'd say, "That's just how daughters-in-law can be." So, I was left to struggle without any solution. Even when I tried to keep my distance, Lily would still contact me, asking for help. Whether I stayed calm or gently turned her down, she always seemed dissatisfied. One day, Lily told me they'd be celebrating Karen's 10th birthday at a popular Chinese restaurant. I'd always sent gifts for their birthdays, but I'd never received a thank you from Jack's family. Instead, I'd hear things like, "Olivia, you have no taste, just give us cash." I'd never been invited to their celebrations because they told me not to interface with family events. But this time, Lily said, Karen's birthday celebration is at her favorite Chinese restaurant. You're coming too, right, Olivia? Surprised, I asked. Why am I invited this time? Lily replied, you're Karen's grandmother. It's normal for you to come, right? Her invitation felt odd, and part of me sensed something unpleasant might happen. But if I didn't go, they'd likely blame me for missing Karen's birthday. After thinking it over, I decided to go, hoping they were trying to mend our relationship. If my suspicions were right, I'd stay away from them in the future. On the day of the party, I arrived at the restaurant, but as soon as I saw them, my faint hope was shattered. Lily and her family looked at me and sneered. Look, there's shark fin soup, Karen's favorite. Since Grandma is paying today, let's eat a lot, she said with a smirk. I was shocked, and when I showed it, Lily laughed even more, clearly enjoying herself. I'd thought paying for the meal wouldn't be a big deal for my granddaughter's birthday, but Lily's attitude acting like I had to pay without even asking caught me off guard. She sneered, "You're not planning to eat without paying, are you, Olivia? How shameless." "I was going to pay," I said, "but you could have at least mentioned the cost beforehand." Lily rolled her eyes. "I did tell you, don't blame others for your forgetfulness. They say memory gets worse with age." Her rude response made me realize that what I'd hoped for, a better relationship, was never going to happen. I decided to eat quickly and leave. Just as I was about to start enjoying the food, something unexpected happened. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Lily snapped at me. I'm just trying to eat," I said, reaching for one of the nice-looking dishes. But before I could take anything, Lily slapped my hand away, like I was a child who'd done something wrong. Her action left me feeling embarrassed, but Lily just laughed and said something shocking. "Today, Olivia, you're just the wallet, so no eating for you." "What, Olivia, did you really think you were here to celebrate Karen's birthday?" She sneered. "You're here to pay the bill, that's all. Be grateful we even let you sit at the table. Don't even think about touching the food." Lily and Karen took turns mocking me, and Jack, my own son, just looked away, saying nothing. I felt alone, my heart heavy with hurt and frustration. I sighed, starting to feel sick from the constant insults, and even considered just leaving. Then, as if she'd had a kind idea, Lily dropped a single dumpling onto my empty plate. "Fine, I guess you can eat that much," she said with a smirk. "Mom, one dumpling, that's all you get? You owe $700 for that dumpling, Grandma," Karen added, laughing at me too. The mocking smiles from both Lily and Karen crushed any warmth I still had for my granddaughter. Right then, I decided I was done. I didn't even feel like celebrating anymore. I just wanted to cut ties. I took a deep breath and said, "I'll pay the bill and leave." "You're leaving already," Lily replied mockingly. "Thanks for the meal, and from now on, just leave me alone." As I got up, Jack wouldn't even look at me, let alone stand up for me. He just sat there, silent. I walked to the counter, trying to hold back my anger. The owner looked surprised and came over. "Excuse me, but the course meal isn't over yet. Could you stay a bit longer?" he asked politely. "I'm sorry, but I need to go now. Can I just pay the bill?" I said. "Didn't you like the food?" he asked, concerned. "Oh, the dumpling was good," I replied, not wanting to explain the whole situation. The owner seemed confused, since Lily had ordered a full-course meal, and it must have looked odd for me to leave halfway. But I didn't care. Covering for my son's family had made me feel foolish, and all I wanted now was to leave them behind. I blurted out, "I'm apparently just the wallet." Just then, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned to see my friend, Mary. She had heard me venting about my son's family before, but today, she'd seen it firsthand. "I saw everything just now," she said. "It's even worse than what you told me." "Mary, when did you get here?" I asked, surprised. "Just before you all arrived. I heard the whole thing," she replied. Mary was there with her co-workers and had witnessed the whole ordeal. She looked furious at the way my son's family was treating me. "You don't need to pay," she said, stopping my hand before I could hand over my card. "Olivia, even if it's your grandchild, that behavior is not normal. At her age, she should know better than to treat family that way. But no one listens to me, not even my son, Jack." I sighed. "So, you're just going to let them walk all over you?" Mary pressed. Her words made me stop and think. I glanced back at my son's family, who were still happily chatting and eating without a care. Jack looked over at me briefly, but then he quickly looked away. It felt like he was a stranger, not my son. "If they don't understand words, then show them with actions," Mary said. "I'll help you." "Thank you, Mary. Could you stay and support me?" I asked, feeling a sense of relief. The owner, noticing the tension, gave me an understanding nod. I turned to him and said, "I'm sorry, but I only ate one dumpling." "No problem," he said. "We'll handle it." With the owner's decision, I only had to pay for the single dumpling. I handed over a few bills, and he smiled as he processed the payment. "The rest of the bill will be covered by those who ate," he assured me. I thanked him for his kindness, realizing that this small act was a good first step in setting boundaries with my son's family. But with Mary's encouragement, I knew I wouldn't stop there. "Thank you so much for standing up for me today," I told Mary. "Of course, and remember, if they treat you badly, speak up firmly from now on," she reminded me. "Actually, could I ask one more favor?" I replied, feeling stronger with her support. Mary nodded, and after I explained my idea, she returned to the restaurant. The next day, just as I expected, my doorbell rang, and it was Lily. On the screen, I saw her glaring into the camera with a furious expression. I opened the door, ready for what was coming. "What's the meaning of not paying for yesterday's food and drinks, Olivia?" she demanded. "What kind of reasoning is that?" "Food and drinks," I replied, playing dumb. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play games. I'm talking about Karen's birthday party." "That's right. You should at least pay up." Karen, who was with Lily, glared at me. Since the restaurant owner made them pay for their own meals, they were panicking they hadn't brought their wallets. Assuming I'd cover the bill, Jack had to run to an ATM, leaving them all embarrassed. Karen's face was twisted with anger as she shouted at me, looking nothing like someone talking to a family member. I sighed and turned to Lily to speak. "I only ate one dumpling yesterday, so I only paid for what I ate. That dumpling costs $700, remember? Or maybe you forgot because of your attitude," I said, calmly. My words only made them angrier. They started yelling at me, saying things like, "What kind of attitude is that? Just because you're Karen's grandmother, you think you can do whatever you want? I don't want a grandma like you." Ignoring their own rude behavior, they pointed fingers, acting as if I was the villain. Karen seemed to believe she was a hero standing up to injustice. I couldn't hold back anymore. "Why am I being treated like this?" I asked. "What did I do wrong? What's so bad about me?" "You haven't done anything, really," Lily replied bluntly. "Wives just don't like their mother-in-laws. I thought I'd make you useful as a wallet this time." Stunned, I couldn't speak. Then, the door to the next room opened, and in walked Mary. As soon as they saw her, both Lily and Karen fell silent, their mouths hanging open. Is this really how you treat my friend? Mary said, looking straight at them. Miss, why are you here? Karen stammered, caught completely off guard. Mary is actually Karen's language teacher, and she hadn't believed my stories about Karen's behavior until she saw it all yesterday. Today, Mary had come to my house to stand up for me. Karen, you once said you wished Olivia was your real grandmother. I was so happy for her to hear that. Mary continued, her tone sharp. Don't be fooled, miss. This woman made my mom cry before. Karen tried to cover for her mom, glancing nervously at Lily. But Mary wasn't buying it. I'm listening, and you just said she wasn't mistreated, didn't you? I couldn't just stay silent after being accused like that. Lily, always quick with words, tried to make excuses to win Mary over, but Mary wasn't swayed by Lily's claims. She was judging based on what she'd actually seen. With no hope of convincing Mary, Karen, who'd been scolded by her teacher, looked like she was on the verge of tears. Mary looked at her and said, expecting your grandmother to pay $700 just for one dumpling. That's no way to treat family. But it was my birthday, Karen insisted. Mom said it's only natural for Grandma to pay. Mary shook her head, considering the way you spoke earlier. Those words don't come from respect. Do you usually talk to your grandmother like this? Karen looked stunned. She had always been fond of Mary and clearly hadn't expected to be called out. Her teacher's words seemed to hit her hard. Seeing Karen's reaction, Lily just glared at me, unable to come up with a response. Complaining to the teacher, how sneaky of you, she muttered. It wasn't a complaint, I replied. Mary just happened to see what was happening. Well, don't think you can see your granddaughter again, Lily snapped, grabbing Karen's hand. We're done with you, Olivia. Fine by me, I said calmly. I'd like the same. Don't involve me anymore. With a resentful look, Lily pulled Karen along, and they both left. Watching them go, I let out a sigh of relief. Mary patted me on the back. After this, they won't be able to act so high and mighty anymore. Thank you, Mary. I'm sorry for always leaning on you. It's all right, Olivia, she smiled. With their attitude, they wouldn't have listened to you anyway. Thanks to Mary's support, I was finally able to cut ties with Lily and her family. It was a bittersweet relief. I didn't say anything to Jack, but I don't expect to hear from Lily anymore. Seeing the usually confident Lily caught off guard helped clear the frustration I'd been carrying. Afterward, Lily and Karen apparently got into an argument because Lily had lied about me, making Karen think Mom made the teacher dislike me. Karen wouldn't let it go, so Lily called me, trying to explain. Can you talk to Mary so Karen can keep going to her language class? She asked. What's there to explain? Mary saw it all herself, I replied. If you admit to harassing me, then no one can say I was lying. Isn't that fair? No way, that's on you. You should apologize sincerely to Karen, Lily said. She kept calling, but since she'd told me to stay away, I stopped answering. Jack also called, not sure whether to side with Lily or Karen. Frustrated by his indecisiveness, I told him, handle your own problems, just as they'd once said to me. Karen still attends Mary's class but has become much quieter since being scolded. She was overly energetic before, so maybe this is just right for her now. A bit of reflection. Don't worry, Olivia. As her teacher, I'll keep an eye on her, Mary assured me. Thank you. I owe you so much, Mary. Don't mention it to her friends. After all, she replied with a warm smile. I couldn't help but feel grateful for her support. Next time, I plan to go out with Mary and finally enjoy the Chinese meal we missed.